Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for The Walking Dead Season 7. And what I'm going to be doing in this video is giving my general predictions for what I think will happen in episode 15 of Season 7, which is going to be called Something They Need. If you are not caught up with The Walking Dead and you do not want to be spoiled in any way, then I suggest you exit the video now and come back later, because otherwise you will be spoiled. Okay, so looking at the trailer for the next upcoming episode of The Walking Dead, which is actually the penultimate episode to Season 7, after next week and the following week, we're done. And we'll have to wait until probably October to get more episodes and to see how everything will end up turning out. But it looks like that next week's episode, we're going to be seeing a lot of different communities. We're going to be seeing multiple storylines. I think we're going to see Rick's group, we're going to see Oceanside, and we're going to see the Hilltop, and more likely than not, we are also probably going to see Sasha and the Saviors. We're going to see some things going on there, because I think that Negan did appear in the trailer. So I think that ultimately we are going to see a lot of things going on in this upcoming episode. Now, the title is called Something They Need, and I think that ultimately what that probably means is Rick's group going to Oceanside, probably to get the guns. I think that it's clear by now that Tara has obviously told Rick's group about Oceanside, that they have a lot of weapons, that she knows where they're at, and that's where they're going. It's very clear that's what's going to happen. And the something they need is they need the weapons. In order to get the Jadis's people to fight, they want the weapons, they have to get them, and they're on very short notice. So I think that really that's the whole point of the episode and the title, but it could mean something more. The other thing you have to think about is they also need people to fight. So will Oceanside join in the fight? That's a very big question, but based on what I saw from those scenes in the trailer, I think that what you're going to see is it looks like a lot of people are going to Oceanside, and I don't blame them, because, I mean, you saw a whole bunch of people from Rick's original group. You saw Aaron, you saw Eric, you saw Tobin, I think I saw Scott. I think you pretty much have almost everybody from Alexandria actually going to Oceanside. And I think the reason for that is that they do want to surround them. It's not like they're going to hurt them. I mean, I don't think that their plan is to go in there and, try to shoot people or anything. Obviously, that's not Rick's group. But I think that Tara did tell them that, hey, these people are dangerous. They will fight. They have the weapons. And we don't want to end up causing a war that could hurt them just as much as it hurts us. And I can understand that. So you saw in the trailer that there was an explosion. Well, we know that Rick's group has dynamite, and you see in the trailer Daryl's carrying a box, which I assume to be that. And you also see that Michonne is up in a tree getting ready to shoot at something. My assumption is that she is going to be shooting at the dynamite. You can shoot dynamite, and if it hits, it will explode. It'll make a spark. And I think that that's what's going to happen, is that in order to set it off safely, as well as to, not have anybody nearby, I think that Michonne is going to shoot it when she gets a signal. And then at that point, you're going to see that the Oceanside people are probably going to go running for the gun locker. They're going to start running over there. They're going to get ready. And perhaps at that point, you're going to have Rick's group coming out, surrounding them, but not doing anything. Saying, stop, don't do nothing, and we won't hurt you. And then at that point, anything could go from there. But I think that at some point, you're going to see that Rick is going to present himself. He's going to say, hey, listen, we know about the Saviors. We know that you have had bad experiences with the Saviors. Join us. Join us and fight. Let us borrow your weapons, and let's take them out. Let's get revenge for what they did to your community and my community. Will Oceanside join? That's very much up in the air. I'm more likely to say that they will not. I'm more likely to believe that they will provide weapons to Rick's group, that I think that Rick is going to be able to earn enough respect in this episode that he can get the weapons. But I don't know if the women will want to fight. I think a lot of the reason just has to do with the same rationale from when Tara talked with them. I don't think their opinion will change just because they have other people to fight. I don't think that's going to happen. So ultimately, I think that you are going to see that going down in this episode. And I think that Tara, is going to talk with some of the people that she met from last time. And I don't know how that reaction's going to go. Is the reaction from some of the people that she befriended, is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? I could see it being a little of both, but I think that ultimately they're going to understand why it had to happen. So I think that Tara will walk away somewhat bittersweet over the reunion, but it is necessary. She had to tell. I think it was definitely something she had to do, and I think she picked the right time to do it. So that's what I think is going to happen on that part of the episode. I think that also we're going to see Maggie and Gregory. There's a sneak peek that shows them, and we see that Gregory was standing behind Maggie with a knife. And obviously we saw in the last episode that Gregory really does feel like he's losing his grip on the power in the community, with Maggie and Sasha coming in and training people and Jesus kind of getting involved. I think that really Gregory is starting to worry. And there does come a point where maybe Gregory thinks, hey, if I get rid of Maggie, it gets rid of all my problems. So I think that ultimately, I think he'll consider it. I think that we're going to see maybe in his mind, kind of like going back to season 1 when Shane held the weapon on Rick in the woods and ultimately decided not to pull the trigger. Part of the reason being that Dale, snuck up on him. I think that Gregory will go through some of the same thoughts. I think that he'll be thinking, should I do it? I got the knife. His hand may be shaking. Maybe he gets, the idea to raise it a little bit. But I think that ultimately he's not going to do it. And I think that part of that might be that either somebody else comes up behind them and, interrupts, and Gregory's then forced to put the knife away, and then, he's on guard, or perhaps maybe a walker might show up. Seems like anytime something intense is going on, sometimes walkers do show up. So I could see a walker interrupting them, or I could see a person like Jesus or another person in the hilltop interrupting them, and maybe Gregory has to hide his intentions. But it could lead eventually to people suspecting Gregory, that maybe something will happen, that maybe Maggie is put on alert by this, and that maybe something might happen. So I could see that happening, but I think that Gregory will contemplate it, but he won't go through with it, obviously. But I think that we will see the consideration in his mind. Now, another thing that we're going to see happening is obviously the Saviors. We're going to see some things going on in the sanctuary, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that in another video. But I think that personally, just to give you a couple of points on that one, Sasha's still alive. I don't think that she's been killed. I think that she's going to be taken prisoner, though. I think we're going to see some comic book scenes from, there was a scene in the comic books where one of the Saviors tries to force himself on a character named Holly. I could see that scene going down, Negan killing that Savior. I could see that Sasha may try to escape, may try to enlist Eugene to help her, that Eugene might go through with it, he might not, but I think that sadly something bad is going to happen to Sasha. I think that she will end up suffering a similar fate to what Holly suffered in the comic books, and I'll explain more of that in my video on whether Sasha is still alive and what's going to happen. Other than that, I don't think we're going to see anything from the Kingdom. I think that story is not going to be involved. I could be wrong. Maybe I missed a scene, but I think that more likely we're going to see a couple short scenes at the hilltop, a couple of short scenes. Well, I think more like half the episode's going to deal with the sanctuary, and then the other half is going to be dealing with Rick's group going and confronting Oceanside. Now, the other thing, though, that I do have to wonder is, if you remember at the end of the last episode, you saw that Rosita, while she was retreating from the sanctuary, ran into someone with a crossbow and a motorcycle with somewhat long hair in a shadow. And there are two characters that fit that description. One is Daryl, one is Dwight. And obviously the big question is, which one was it? Well, personally, I'm more likely to think that Rosita ran into Dwight. The reason I think that is because if you look at the trailer, you see that Daryl is with Alexandria. And he's obviously helping them with their mission. I believe I saw him carrying the box of dynamite. So more likely than not, he's going to be over there. And you remember, you saw Daryl asking about Sasha and Rosita in the last episode. Obviously it was meant to maybe think that he might go after them, but I don't think he will. I think that ultimately he's just going to say, well, they're on their own. If I go back over there, I'm going to end up putting myself in danger. So I think it was Dwight. I think that she ran into Dwight. And what that's going to mean for Rosita, not 100% sure, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in another video. But I think that this might lead to some very big events in the television series going into the season finale as well as season 8. But really, you want to know what I think? I think that she ran into Dwight, and I think that possibly even at the end of the episode, that might be the cliffhanger. It's going to involve him and her. So I think some big things might be coming up. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think those predictions are accurate? Are there other things that you would like to see in the episode? Is there something that maybe I missed? Don't be afraid to let me know. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. Have a very wonderful evening, and thank you all very much for watching.